Yes. Hello people. How are you? Escape the Maze, part 23. How are you out there, my brothers and sisters? My lovely people. How are you today? How you been? I haven't been around for a while. I apologise for that. I've been gathering a little bit of information, dealing with attacks at night. Because what I've been thinking about or feeling about is solution based, and when you go into solution based or ideas, then you know they attack you more and more because they just don't want the ideas out there. I've noticed that, you know, for a long time now, that if you search on the internet or what you do on there, it's all telling you who's doing this to us, the reasons why they're doing it, and who they are, and what they're going to do to you, you know. And this is all across everywhere, so it's just echo chambers coming through, and there's no solutions on there. Or I've found there's very little amount of solutions of what you can actually do about this. You know, how do you combat this, what is happening right now to us? Because the ones that know out there, you know, us people what have done the work, like we say, we can't go back to how it was. And we know it isn't going to happen anyway, but the idea in the masses is that's going to happen. But we can't go back there anyway, can we? And we can't really go to the future or what they've got planned for the future, because we know what that is as well. And, you know, if you take, you know, what's going on out there, that's their numbers, 7.5, 8 billion of us here, shrunken down to 500 million. Well, there's not going to be a lot of us around to live that future, and who would want to live that future anyway as a hybrid, you know, as someone was, you know, been introduced into a smart city, total control, and dystopian future, what they've programmed in through all the movies that they've done, and people are just walking into it. So who would want that anyway out of us lot? Who in their right heart would want that? So where we're at the moment, I feel a lot of us is we can't go back. You know, you're going to get all them people out there what think if they have an injection they can get on a plane and go to Benidorm and everything will be great and have a beer and it was just a bad experience. You got them people, right? So that's them people. We know that we can't do this. We know that we can't do that. So the path, that's gone for us. That is all gone for us. And it's gone for them, but for us, that's a massive no-no. We can't go back. And like I say, we can't go forward. So we're in this type of no man's land, you know, where, you know, and I feel like, you know, I couldn't get, it's demoralising in there. It's because there's no, we can't go forward, we can't go back, so we're stuck in this no man's land because there's no solutions coming up. There's no ideas, there's nothing that can create traction. It's got legs that people can attach to and say, I'm a part of this. This gives me my purpose. This is a function that I need to do because that is for the greater good, or that is for the good of all of us, the children and everything. So what we've got to do, we've got to stop looking at the people what are going to be in the, or want to live in the past, or want to go to that digital future and be turned into, like I say, a hybrid or whatever. That's for them getting plugged in. It's not for us. The organics, you know, that's for the machine people, you know. So where are we? What do we do here? We've dropped enough ropes down the cliffs to the other ones to find if they need to climb up. And we're on the ledge, and we're sort of stuck on that no man's ledge of we've got to go to the next bit now, because if not, what it is that we'll just find ourselves in a peaceful extermination. You know, like that will just be one off, another one of us go, another one, and you know, until there's nothing left of consciousness. You know, another thing that I've realised where that induces us to not do anything is like you've got. Like everyone, you're always waiting for someone to do something, you know, everyone's waiting, oh, I can't, you know, that's too big, you know, like, well, mud floods are coming, you know what I mean, a reset's coming, you know, they'll kick a war off, you know, or food supply, or the winter, you know, as mini ice age, what's the point of doing anything? But I really feel that the children here, you know, I care about them, and we all do what have done the work. Of course we do that, the innocents. They deserve an experience in this physicality and freedom. They deserve that. And with all what's going on, you know, with the old people, suicides are going through the roof, young people, we've got to care enough about all of this to do something about it, right? We've got to come up with solutions. We've got to come up with ideas, you know, because if we don't, like I say, we're all just sitting around looking, and their plans just creeping, their agenda's creeping, and we're just watching it. We're watching that, and we haven't got, you know, we haven't got no inspiration. We haven't got no knowledge, or we're not functioning in a way because we're watching, or where we're not actually producing our own ideas of what we can actually do to combat this. You know, what can we do? Now, everything that you look at is a huge task. It's big. Of course it is. Because we've been in this situation, reset after reset after reset, for so long that we've got so used to being led and slaves. We've got so used to that. That's in the traumas in our bloodstream. We just go along with things, and because that's just how it's always been, and we're waiting for other people to do stuff all the time for us, but we've got to do it. You know, if we don't do it, that won't happen. If you don't open the door, no, you can't get through. You've got to do it. And this is where we have to get to solution based. Now, I've got a solution. I've done some work in the past where I went to the land and we set up villages in mountains and stuff, you know, and started growing our own food, water filtration, and we went into survival mode, raw food eating, you know, and all this. I've done this in the past. So that's a solution, okay? But that's about getting out of this place and going there. Now, my solution, in what I'm going to do a few videos on here, because it's going to take a little bit of time to marinate this, you know, but I've got the concept in my head moving, and my heart, is everyone out there now is really, that's a real good thing, is that they're getting into common law and the Magna Carta, and knowing the law of the land, you know, and this is first base. And it's great that people are actually getting into this area of knowledge, you know, because that can protect them. You know, if you've got a policeman out there what's an officer and not a policeman, then he's working obviously for the Crown, which is the City of London, the square mile, and he's not under oath of law of the land if he's a police officer. So people are now starting to figure this corporate deal out here, what's going on. Now, we've got to take that steps further. We've got to feel big about this. We've got to take that further. And what I've come up with is, this is just the beginnings of an idea. And you, on the comment section, get into it. Strap these ideas in, because this is how it's going to get us out of this. It's not going to get us out of this by knowing what's going on, just accepting it. We've got to show the consciousness, yeah, we're ready for the hard work to combat this and go at it and fight for our freedoms. You know, this is how it's got to be. We've got to find the energy from somewhere to do it, haven't we? You know, if not, we're defeated before we start, and then that means that we're dead. You know, men standing and women, you know, and we can't allow that. So with what I've come up with is, with the common law and everything that I've been reading over the years, what we have to do, we have to go back before this place was invaded by the Roman armies, all right? Britain is called Britain because of Brutus, right? And he was a Roman general what come over here and named it Brutus Britain, and that became the name. So Britain is a Roman name, right? Now, if we get into it later on with the word Britain and England and the UK corporation, we are still under the rule of the Roman Admiralty law, canon law. We know that, don't we? You know, if anyone studied common law, they know what Admiralty law is. You know, the law of the seas, not the law of the land. We know this, right? And it's all perpetuated from the City of London, which is owned by the Vatican. Right? We know, the ones what done the work know this. And the Magna Carta was written in 1215. Well, if the Magna Carta was written in 1215, it's too late in the game because we were still under Roman occupation. Right? They are the occupying force on this land, right? So if you've done that work. So what we have to do, we have to find out what the name was of this land before the Roman Empire invaded it. Because if there was people on this land, indigenous people to this land, growing food on this land, as a tribal community, they had their own rules and they lived by the law of the land, by them rules. And the Magna Carta, what was written later, was taken from that tribal people here, written down, but the Magna Carta was written for them. That was written for the lords, ladies and the barons and the landowners. And that was never wrote for the peasants. So with the Magna Carta, the book's written for them, but we can still use it. We can still use that. What I'm suggesting is that if we go and we find out what the land was before the Roman Empire got here, which is called the land of Albion, right? That is the oldest known name of these islands where we live, Albion. If we go back as people to that land and we take the birth certificate, our certificate, which is an invisible contract, which really takes us into the corporation of the UK in these days, okay, we take that birth certificate, we get the birth certificate back, which will be a copy, but it doesn't matter. We get the birth certificate back, right? We tear a corner off it, which is the four-corner rule. And if you haven't heard about the four-corner rule, check it out. We tear the corner off the birth certificate, the certificate what changed us into a synthetic being, under the rule of the seas from the City of London and the Vatican. We tear that off and we state on that birth certificate that we are no longer employees of that company, the UK corporation, and we are tribal men and women on the land of Albion, all right, under our own jurisdiction, with our own rules. And then what we do, we take the Magna Carta, the book, we take out everything of that which is relevant and means something to us as the tribal men and women of the land of Albion, and we write our own book in these days for the laws, what we will live under, for how we live as tribal people together, coming together as one tribe, and the jurisdiction of all their legalese, statutes and everything else does not apply to us because we are under the rule and the law of the land, and we write the actual book of it. We do an updated Magna Carta for living man, living on the land for him, under the tribe, the timber tribe, because we know how to cut through the bullshit. The timber tribe on the land of Albion, as a tribal people that look after each other in love, peace, harmony, abundance. And that is the beginning of the idea of the story of us. And this is where we've got to formulate ideas. And that is an idea that I'm going to work on. Because the children here are worth it, and we need something, all of us, to get together so that we can wake up in the morning or when we go and come in at night or whatever, and we can work on something and it makes sense to us as tribal people. We are tribal people, the timber tribe that lives on the land of Albion. That's who and what we are, and that's the idea what I'm now put out there, and that's the idea that I'm going to grow. So much love from Escape the Maze, from me to you. Let's get into solution base. Anyone on the comment section, add to it. Add to it, because I'm going to start writing some stuff down, putting it in front of the camera. And if you want to join the timber tribe, let's read it out. Let's make sure who you are and what you are, and let's get you involved in the timber tribe. And then we can start getting all the timber tribe together and start ripping up lawns. The reason why they had lawns in the first place is for rich people to tell the poor people that they were that rich that they didn't need their land to grow vegetables. So they put lawns down. So the first things we do, we start telling our tribal members to start ripping your lawns up. Start planting heirloom seeds in them. Let's get water filtration set up for all us in the tribe. Let's come together. Let's meet each other face to face. Let's get some juice going here for us. Don't worry about all the machine people or the serpent people what are doing this to us. Let's worry about us as a tribe, the timber tribe, the timbers. And let's come together, face to face, formulate ideas, and let's move it forward. Because this is a way out, people. And I love you. I love you. Do it for the children. Do it for the ones at the end of their tether contemplating suicide. Do it for the elderly. And this has everything what goes on in this place right now will have consequences, because the timber tribe will bring the consequences to the occupying force on this land, and they're under the law of the sea, under legalese. So much love from me to you. You take it easy. Much love. Bye-bye.